Welcome to episode 26 of the Show and Tell Show.
26.
Yeah, it's a lot, isn't it?
Hard to believe.
Hard to believe. And here we are again in our famous orange glasses and orange shirts,
Or infamous.
right? And we're the Enrollment Marketing Geeks. I'm Rick Newberry and
Andy
Andy Lynch.
Lynch.
So grateful that you've chosen to join us. And we've got an action-packed show ahead of us as we're going to talk through AI and Halda. So before we do that, we've got some introductory comments and announcements that we want to share with you. As you have been following us, my company is Enrollment Catalyst, and I come alongside of schools to help them with their enrollment and marketing assessments and planning. Just recently, I've launched my AI Catalyst training program, and I have nearly 40 school teams that are walking through that experience and training, and it's going to be available evergreen as well. So if you're interested in that, you didn't make it to the live trainings, feel free to reach out to me, or you can find that information on my website, and I'm glad to help you. And then also, this is a great time to think about your end of the year surveys for parents and employees. So if I can help you with that through my school survey solutions program, I'm glad to engage in a conversation with you. Andy, we've known each other for years. Tell us about Tassel and what you guys focusing on.
Yeah, I'm Andy Lynch, President and CEO of Tassel, a company I started back in 2000 as North Star Marketing. We changed our name to Tassel at the beginning of 2025. We help schools in a variety of ways: online marketing, which includes AI, SEO, paid search, paid social. We do a lot of academic and athletic branding for schools as well, website development, which is certainly germane for this conversation as we talk about the website experience and integrating Halda to convert more traffic into leads, into inquiries. Messaging by age and stage and Right Fit Family Rubric are signature solutions for us at Tassel. So the Show and Tell Show, if this is your first time tuning into the Show and Tell shows, Rick and I developed this concept in response to a question that we get a lot from schools, and this is one that we've heard many times. It's what are other schools doing? What do you see other schools doing? So we decided to take a familiar concept, show and tell, which we all did as kids, and build a series around that. The Show and Tell Show is the show that showcases schools doing something worth showing off. And we love show and tell, don't we, Rick?
We do.
Yeah. Did you bring some show and tell today?
I did.
What you got?
Yeah. Remember when we were together in Orlando and I was
I do.
showing off my AI meta
Oh.
glasses?
Oh, yeah.
Pretty cool.
Like you're looking into my
Very
soul.
stylish. They don't make these in orange though, but that would be kind of cool.
That would be.
They would be, but yeah, very cool. I thought I would get in with it, the AI technology through the glasses and check it out. So I'm just figuring it out and seeing how it works, but I can take pictures and videos. I can ask Meta questions, and it's a pretty cool tool.
All right. That's cool.
What do you got? What do you got?
Mine is significantly less techy. It's my favorite book of poetry, the poetry of Robert Frost. Look at this bad boy. My favorite American poet, Robert Frost. I'm just going to read a few of these, if you don't mind. If do we have time for that?
I'm going to take
maybe
a nap.
not. All right. Yep, that's my show and tell, my Robert Frost book, which I keep nearby. On to other show and tell topics. I'm particularly excited about next week's episode, Decisions That Drive Enrollment Growth, Unique Leadership Contributions from the Head of School. I encourage you to join us on March 19th for a conversation with Dr. Tony Fajardo. Tell us about what we're going to be discussing with Tony.
Yeah, Tony's been head at 3 different schools, and so he'll be able to speak from his experiences about what it's taken as a leader to be able to drive enrollment growth and how he works with his team. So definitely you want to tune in. It's not just for a head of school.
That's right.
But it's actually for a marketing director, admissions director, to be able to think about that important relationship.
Yeah. It's going to be a great conversation. Looking forward to that with Tony. And on the subject of stuff coming up, we have a lot on the schedule for the Enrollment Marketing Geeks. For the first time, we're doing virtual workshops. We have done these formally in a Geeks on the Road format, but GeekCon, as in Get Your Geek On, these are our virtual enrollment marketing workshops. We've taken our Family Journey workshop, the Admissions Playbook workshop, and formatted those into 2 half days. So 11:30 to 4 on April 15 and 16 is the Family Journey Workshop. We're going to step through the 5 phases of the family journey. We've gotten great feedback from the hundreds of folks who have gone through that workshop. We're looking forward to doing that virtually. And you like, oh, I can't make that live. No trouble. Go ahead and register, and you'll be able to watch the recording. We still have the Way Early Nerd discount in full effect. And then the Admissions Playbook Workshop, July 22 and 23. Also 11:30 to 4 both days. We're going to be doing a deeper dive into the admissions process in particular. But wait, there's more. We love being together with you all in person. And Rick, we're going to do just that in November.
Yeah, and we're actually going to be at the Verse Academy in Orlando. What a great time to be in Orlando. You know, the humidity will be gone, hopefully sunshine, and we're going to be focusing in on AI and really taking a deep dive from Andy and my experiences and knowledge base, and giving you the opportunity to learn more about how you can apply AI to your world in admissions, retention, and marketing. You don't
Yeah,
want to
that's
miss
right.
it.
Looking forward to being with TJ Ross, who will join us here in a moment on the panel, and his team at the First Academy. Seating will be limited for that, so I encourage you to sign up early. And this is going to be hands-on. It's not just going to be a bunch of theory. So bring your laptop, and we're looking forward to being with you in person. And Rick, we also look forward to some dad jokes on these, don't we?
That's right. We're famous for those.
And you got the first one, I believe.
All right, let me take that one. I started a band called 999 Megabytes. We're pretty good, but haven't gotten to a gig yet.
Ooh, that's pretty terrible. All right, so let's move on. The topic for today, AI in action. In particular, we're going to focus on how Halda is moving the needle for enrollment teams. So Rick and I first got familiar with Halda maybe about a year and a half ago or more, and we're pretty impressed with where that tech was heading. Essentially, Halda is a little AI window that sits on your website, and it uses AI to help you convert more traffic into inquiries, and ultimately those inquiries into applications and enrollments. Rick, anything on Halda as we wade into this conversation that you want to share?
Yeah, I've seen it really enhance that opportunity to convert traffic to a website to a real lead. And that's what it's all about. I had a school implement this that you guys are working with last week, and they've already seen about 12 leads coming through that pipeline. So
Yeah,
it
that's
works,
awesome.
and we're going to demonstrate how that works and hear from the panelists.
Yeah, so on the way in, I've asked Karen Garner from our team, an enrollment marketing manager at Tassel, to join us. Karen has helped several of our clients, welcome Karen, on board with Halda. And I want her to take a moment and just share, what does this look like? So you hear us talk about this, but Karen, from your perspective, you've helped schools who want to grow and sustain enrollment. This is part of the strategy that you've brought to the table as an enrollment marketing manager on the Tassel team for the clients that you work with. Many of your clients use Halda, and for the rest, it's only a matter of time, right? And you've been involved in the setup process. So welcome, Karen. Tell us a little bit about you, and then if you would, give us the nickel tour of Halda.
Yeah, thank you, Andy and Rick. I'm excited to be a part of the conversation today. Like you said, I am part of our enrollment marketing manager team here at Tassel, and have had the opportunity to walk schools through adding Halda to their website, from the kickoff conversation to the launch and lead generation that we're experiencing. And so it's been fun to watch and get some of that preliminary data. And like I said, I'm thrilled to share it with all of you here today. So we will walk through that. I want to show you what the family experience is on the visitor side of the website. So you can see an example here of Eastern Christian School. You can see the AI Hub down in the right-hand corner. This is a tool that our prospective families get to see when they get to the website. Pops up, they're able to engage with it in a couple of different functions. So we'll show you the AI form and how that functionality works here as well.
So I've clicked on this typically, and I've visited this website before, but if I were hitting this for the first time, after a few seconds, the Halda window would pop up. And what are they engaging with here? I've got Resurrection Christian pulled up.
Yeah, so here you can see the AI hub. So like Andy said, there's a little bit of a different experience on your first visit compared to your subsequent visits, because Halda actually tracks your IP address and walks you through that journey. So here you're seeing the AI form. This is our right fit assessment form. And as you can see, it's promising personalized answers in 30 seconds. So the prospective family can engage with this form. We walk them through a few brief questions that are focused on their motivations for exploring a school. So it's asking them why they're here, you know, what their concerns are, what school year they're interested in, if they want a parent guide. And Andy's kind of walking through all of these questions right now. It's asking some student information. So we have the opportunity to integrate with Facts as your CRM, potentially others in the future, but this is asking you student information because Resurrection actually has that integration set up. And then as you click next, it will ask.
Probably going to ask me to pick some things here, but so for sake of expedience, I'm and the folks at Resurrection Christian just know I'm a little far away in North Carolina to actually get over to you. So you can see as I fill this out, it's going to capture my contact information, and then off we go.
And then it delivers what we call the response page content. So as promised, we're delivering personalized responses to that prospective family within 30 seconds. And so you can see there are internal links throughout this content. There are clear next steps. We always want to support the family as they progress through the family journey. But all the while, the admissions team at Resurrection has generated an inquiry and now knows a little bit more about this family that's interested in the admissions process.
Yeah, fantastic. And Karen's going to continue to ride along on the sidecar here as we step through our process. But Karen, thanks for that quick overview. I know one way that that question that comes up pretty often is can we control the content? Like can we pre-configure certain answers? And if you would touch on that briefly before we invite our panelists in.
Yeah, so there are two different aspects of how parents will interact with Halda. And the first is that AI form, which we just walked through, where we're delivering response page content. And so that response page content is static in the sense where we're going to work with your team to generate responses to the questions that we're asking. And then every time a prospective family selects that in the AI form, they're going to see the same response page content. So it's calculated in a sense where we can control your tone and messaging, we can be consistent, but it's also personalized based on how they're interacting with that form. Sure. So that's the response page content that you see right there. And then the second piece is the AI search component. And that's where families can interact in a different way, where AI is actually generating those responses live. It's kind of an always on opportunity for families to engage and ask questions. And the way that works is that Halda is actually conducting a site search through Google with your query. And so it is going off and browsing your site to see if there's a match for the query that has been put into AI search. And it's summarizing those responses and then delivering the response in that AI search feature.
Wow, that's
so
great.
There are, yeah, I'm sorry, Andy, I was just going to say there are parameters that we can set to ensure that that is delivering accurate and consistent responses as those queries come in. So that's an important part of our setup process.
Very good. So folks, that should give you a high level overview, a very quick overview of what the experience feels like. But let's hear it from some schools who've been using Halda for a while. So if I could invite our esteemed and geeky panelists to join us here.
Yeah, and we have 3 dedicated admissions and marketing professionals who are joining us, who are all using Halda. And I would like for each one of them to introduce themselves, tell me a little bit about yourself, your school, how many students you have, and that'll be a great way to get started. So Stephanie, you want to start?
Sure. I am Stephanie Spangler, and I'm with Resurrection Christian School in Loveland, Colorado. We have 1,400 students from preschool through 12th grade, and we've been using Halda for about 12 months. Earlier I said 6. I just went back and looked. I was like, it's actually been 12 months, which has been amazing. And I've been in this role for about 5 years, and I am in charge of all admissions and marketing, and there's 3 people in my department.
Very good. Thanks you, Stephanie. And Justin, you and I go way back. I've known you for years and had the opportunity to work with the team on several occasions at Eastern Christian. Justin, tell us a little bit about the school, your role, and your enrollment.
Sure. Thanks for having me. I'm Justin Van Dyke. I'm at Eastern Christian School in Northern New Jersey, and I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications, and we serve almost 1,000 students on 3 campuses from preschool through 12th grade.
Excellent. Thank you, Justin. And last but not least, Mr. TJ Ross at the First Academy in Orlando. And he's the one that's graciously opened up his campus for our AI Summit. And so, TJ, tell us a little bit about yourself and your school.
Thank you, Rick. So, name's TJ Ross, serve as the Senior Director of School Growth and Improvement, overseeing our admissions, marketing, and helping out with our accreditation here at the school. We're about 1,600 kiddos, shooting for about 1,750 to 1,780 next year. And right now our admissions team is 7 people across 4 different programs. And then we have a couple people on our marketing team.
Awesome. I really appreciate you all joining us today. And you may think that Halda is only for large schools, but that's not the case. We have many schools that have, less than 300 students that are using Halda. So it's a great opportunity for any school to take advantage. I thought I would just start off with a question for you guys to, as you think about Halda, but even beyond Halda, how else are you using AI within your enrollment marketing and admissions work right now? Because AI is certainly a big topic. We're going to be exploring that at the AI Summit. And just curious how you're using AI in your world. Stephanie, you want to start?
Sure. Yeah, we've actually been utilizing it for scheduling and calendar planning. So events, and then we've been doing tracking based on our 3 pillars, the boldly Christian, academically equipped, and globally prepared. So we're taking all of our events and then kind of pulling data to see where are we spending the majority of our time with all of the events that we're doing, and are we focused on academics or retention? And so we've been utilizing it that way.
No, that's great. Very good. Justin, you want to share?
I've been enjoying creating some custom GPTs, preloaded with different priorities, writing samples, being able to generate content in the voice, and with the goals of certain individuals in our organization. It's been a huge time saver on writing content and kind of cross-checking content that we're writing against department goals, and just mission alignment in those communications.
That's great. I mean, you're really an advanced user, because most schools that I talk to aren't using AI in that way. So that's awesome. What about you, TJ, at the First Academy?
Yeah, we've got several tools that we're using right now. Probably on some of the basic day-to-day, Opus has been good from a social media standpoint. Use it a lot for caption generation or newsletter blurbs when we take some of our long form messaging and condensing it down into caption form. We're toying around with 11 Labs, if you're familiar with that one, when it comes to audio generation. It's been nice taking what has been written devotionals from our head of school and capturing his voice, and now we've got his voice. And so we can use that for taking our devotionals and utilizing it. And then things like AI, data-driven analytics, it's helpful from inquiry to enrollment. So there's a lot you can do with it.
That's great. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, very good. For many of the schools that we've worked with who brought on Halda, Halda is one of their early forays into using it specifically for lead generation, for inquiry generation. And let's start with some of the results you all have seen. You've been with Halda for several months, perhaps more than a year, some of you. Let's just talk about what you're seeing in terms of results. And we'll do that in reverse order. TJ, if I could start with you and we'll finish with Stephanie there. So what are you seeing Halda's doing for you?
Well, I mean, return on investment, I mean, is a hard thing to calculate, but I would just say from a sheer enrollment standpoint, yeah, we've had, goodness, probably over 300,000-ish of tuition dollars where families have come in through the Halda funnel. It's nice because you can get some of your, what I would call maybe like your ghost visitors who go to your website and they peruse around, and this kind of draws them in a soft way where they don't have to invest a ton of time or energy, and just being able to capture some of those very soft leads out the gate that we can kind of follow up on and put in our drip campaigns and things like that has been invaluable, but slightly immeasurable at the same time. So it's hard to say the exact number on that.
Yeah, so just for sake of comparative return, at the time of this recording, Halda's $500 a month, $6,000 a year, and in net tuition revenue, you're north of 300,000. That's a fairly good return. Justin, how about you?
Similar results, just in that it exceeded our expectations. Our organic leads, I think, are up 200-300% compared to prior to the Halda tool. I think last year was about 220 inquiries that came in through Halda, and saw probably 20 or so enrollments as a result. So again, a couple $100,000 in tuition revenue generated.
Fantastic. Very good. Stephanie, how about you?
Yeah, we're the same. I think we're a little under like 150,000 in revenue for tuition dollars. I think the biggest thing for us is we've been able to tailor every ounce of what we've done compared to what we did a few years ago. Getting all of the information from Halda and being able to actually tailor every time we do a tour or an email back has been something we didn't have any of that information to do. So the return on investment has been amazing.
Very good. Thank you.
That's great. So I'm just curious if you all would want to share what initially led your school or yourselves to explore Halda. What intrigued you about this? Who wants to go first?
I can.
Okay.
Go ahead, TJ.
Yeah, I would just say, in looking at the evolution of information aggregating and absorption amongst folks who are interested in your school or your product, now that we have websites, it's great, but you still have to go find it. What I love about Halda is a family that has a broad or even narrow question. They don't have to go perusing around. They can simply go to the little platform, type in the AI chat box something as narrow as, what athletic offerings are there in 6th grade? And it'll populate it. Where without it, right now, they have to find our athletics page, go to middle school, look for 6th grade. And so for a parent experience, especially those who are in tune with using AI for their own general search queries, this provides them a similar experience.
Yeah, it's a customer service angle. That's helpful.
Right.
Stephanie?
Yeah, I actually went to one of your guys's things at CISA. And so it was all about Halda, and it was our way of just getting our foot wet and just being able to say, like, can we see a different side of marketing? Can we utilize AI? And we didn't have a ton of funds in the budget at that moment, but it seemed like this was feasible. And so it really just got us started. And so for us, that's why we decided we're going to jump in and see what this does for us. And we're so glad we did.
If you're not familiar with CISA, that's the Council on Educational Standards and Accountabilities. They tend to focus on a larger Christian school audience, so we have overlap with several schools, all three of these actually in the CISA network. And Justin, how about you?
I first heard about it through CISA as well, and I think a survey that Rick was conducting of schools within CISA. I'm not known to be an early adopter, but we were in a season of some diminished results in one of our kind of marketing channels, and this being AI really just piqued my interest, started looking into it, and just the results that other schools were having seemed like a no-brainer for us at the time. So I was able to do it just in lieu of that other kind of marketing spend.
So just let me follow up on that question a little bit here. On the subject of hesitations, I mean, this is a new approach. This is not just like a glorified search bar or a glorified chat bot. It's more than that. I'm curious. I'll start with you, Justin. Anybody else who wants to chime in here? Initial hesitations, or like, I'm not quite sure if should we take a risk here?
Certainly hesitations. I love letting other people work out the kinks in platforms before adopting them myself. And just personally, maybe have a higher or a lower tolerance of some of the just lead gathering techniques out there, and something that I might not have engaged with on another site, but seeing the results that we have and the number of people that do engage with it has just been awesome. So significant hesitation, but so glad that I took the jump.
Stephanie, TJ, anything just regarding hesitations or maybe initial objections that you had to work through?
Yeah, ours was our website. We were nervous doing that, and we're not super proud of our website yet, and we are excited to get a better one, but we weren't sure what information it would pull. And so we tried to change our mindset and just say, this is maybe the areas that we can work on our website every time that they ask a different question. And so we went back and changed content based on just learning what people were asking for. And so that our initial hesitation was we just weren't proud of our website. So we were a little nervous.
I'm so glad you brought that up. There are numerous schools that we've talked to that do not have it in their current fiscal year to do a website refresh, to spend tens of thousands of dollars on that capital investment. But in many cases, we have seen Halda actually create a better user experience, sitting on top of a website that may feel a bit clunky or dated. It can significantly increase the curb appeal and the utility of that site. So TJ, how about for you? Any hesitations there?
Yeah, ours was threefold. Want to make sure that when I start asking questions that it's going to be accurate. It's also not, and I wanted to check for hallucinations, which if you're familiar with AIs and its ability to generate information that you don't know where it came from, but it came. And so I would like the kind of stress testing that. And then also our brand voice, so that it had a good tone and style that matched our school. And frankly, all of those, when stress tested, came through positively, especially since its knowledge base is literally based upon your school. And you don't have to worry about it having external influences on that data.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah. Tell us about this setup process. Was that easy, overwhelming? Did you have to do a lot of work? And just give us a feel for what that process was like at your schools. Justin, you want to start with that one?
Sure. It was far easier than I anticipated. My history has been, you launch a new platform and the amount of setup is overwhelming and super taxing. I think we were set up within a couple weeks, maybe a month at most, just between the initial form direction and suggested responses based on kind of the key things that parents are asking and looking for. So I thought it was a really easy process to set up.
Yeah, that's actually a great point that you're making, is that you could sign on the dotted line with Tassel and then have it up and running in just a matter of weeks, and that really turns on that lead generation machine. Stephanie or TJ, you want to add anything to the setup process and what that was like for your schools?
Simple.
Simple?
It was pretty quick. Yeah, it wasn't bad at all.
Yeah, I would echo the same things. I mean, the heavy lifting is the scraping of your website, which is done through Halda. And so that's nice. And then the specific content that you're tailoring, well, in our case, we worked alongside Tassel to tailor those curated responses that Karen mentioned earlier. And so really outside of working on those and finding out that we had some things on our website that needed to honestly just go away, it just was convoluting some of the answers, but no, overall very good. And
yeah. And just briefly to touch on that, I find that this is a helpful process for surfacing some of those things. Like, wait, where did that come from? That's not accurate. Well, it's coming from somewhere, and from somewhere on your website, and perhaps it's from a hidden page that's still indexable by Google. And I think it's important for you to find that before some large language model returns that as a version of truth for a prospective family that's using ChatGPT or Gemini or Grok or whatever, and you're not aware that that's coming up in those contexts. Karen, if you could touch on this briefly, I know you've walked several of your clients through the process. Just give us a quick sketch of what sort of, what ready looks like for a school to go live with Halda.
Yeah, we've set up an implementation timeline that's roughly like 5 to 21 days. So, where you guys are talking about 2 to 3 weeks, that's right on where we try to get this implemented and launched. There's a couple of pieces on the technical side that we need to secure. We need access to your Google Tag Manager website. There's the creative piece. Certainly we need your brand standards guide so we can, configure your color palette and your logos and things, make it look seamless on your website. And then the content phase, which we've kind of discussed a little bit, but our team has a custom GPT set up where we're building that knowledge base with what we know about you so that we can generate that response page content. Of course, there's a review process and approval process with the team at the school. But if that goes quickly, if we get those approvals in quickly, it literally can be launched in a week to about 20 days. And so it's a really encouraging return to sign on the dotted line for something and then be able to see it in action pretty quickly.
So thank you for that. Let's talk about what did you notice once Halda went live, and how did that impact what you were seeing day to day once Halda was live on your website?
Just exciting. Like, couldn't believe it. Like, first day people were interacting with it already. Inquiries were coming in. I couldn't believe just how quickly we were seeing people engage.
We find get some I like it as like a market analysis tool in a sorts too, in the sense of the questions that they're asking. You can get a sense as to, okay, what are some themes? A lot of questions about like how does your school handle children with unique learning needs? So for example, like dyslexia, so you'll see that common thread where it's like, oh, well, we had 5 families ask about dyslexia. So you can kind of glean some interesting data points of what folks who are exploring your school are thinking about.
Yeah, it was great for us. It launched at the same time that we have like our withdrawal deadline. And so what we found interesting was that the same questions that they were asking about were some of the same reasons as to why we were having withdrawals. So we really looked into that and tried to build off of that. And so one of the things was we had a tuition increase. And so people were asking a ton about tuition. We had, there's a lot of schools in Colorado that are dealing with bullying. I'm sure schools all over are dealing with that. So people wanted to really make sure that they had community and connection and the school culture. And so we were able to see what they were asking coming into the school could be the same reason as to why they were leaving. And so we were truly trying to hone in on that data, which helped with board reports for me as well.
My microphone was muted, all the technology right before me. I had to make sure I push start. I had a little coughing attack, so I wanted to make sure that you didn't hear that. And technology works well, but you need to make sure you push the button. Anyway, Stephanie, I wanted to build off of that. And I'm just wondering what types of questions you're seeing parents asking through the Halda platform? And TJ, you can add in on that as well, just to give a flavor for their engagement with that and the questions they may be asking.
So what we're noticing is we're actually getting more from the form response than we are the actual AI search questions. We're not getting a ton of those. Some that are very, very direct, we see a lot more, like, we are new to church. Do you actually have to be a Christian to attend your school? We're a covenantal school, so yes. But we get to work with those families. So we've had a few of those, but the more information that we're getting is actually from that first, where they're filling out the form. And we already have some of the things that we want them to kind of let us know what they're interested in. So we get more information that way than we do the search bar.
Yeah, for us, it tends to be like logistics questions will come up, like, when's your start and stop time? Or do you have aftercare? Or what does pickup look like? You know, you'll get some of those for upper school kiddos. Sometimes families are like, okay, what does it look like when credits transfer in? Like, would my kid have, like, do they have to have 2 years of foreign language? Like, you'll get some pretty narrow ones, which is nice because, frankly, a lot of those questions are easily answered by our website. And with this, it's a one centralized place to go instead of having to wait for, you know, if they're looking late at night, they don't have to wait to call somebody in the morning. They can just look for it at their own leisure.
And how has this informed your follow-up process? So what you're getting through Halda, your admissions team, how is this actionable information for them?
Go ahead, TJ.
I'll share a little bit. So you get a lot of information on a family if they go through and complete the form that Halda produces. So just to kind of live out an example, someone goes, completes the form, you get a general sense, their grade, what are their top priorities, what are their concerns, you know, what solutions are they hoping to solve by coming to your school. But then Halda will also see if they go and kind of go through an exploratory phase of your website. So let's say the fine arts is of a big question for them, or they want to learn more about your school, and they navigate to those pages. It's actually collecting that data, which is extremely nice. So when our admissions assistants reach out to those individuals who have inquired, they already have a sense of what their main priorities are, not only from the form, but where they've gone on the website. And so you kind of have a sense of, well, this family really is interested in our performing arts program. Okay, I should maybe make sure, frankly, I'm abreast of everything before I go and pick up this call, because I can anticipate they're going to ask some more nuanced questions. And funny enough, that's really good. Sometimes the admissions team, when they know that, like, they will go to the search feature and they'll be like, hey, like, what performing arts, you know, so because sometimes they, you know, it's good, you know, like everybody, you know, there's a lot that happens out of school, and so it's a nice tool for not only prospective families, but people already here.
That's great. Steph, anything to add there?
Yeah, we tailor our emails back to them as well as our tours. So if we notice, same thing, like if they're really interested in the fine arts, then we're going to hit every ounce of the fine arts on the tour instead of focusing on athletics, because we do individual tours. So it really helps us with how we're going to respond to them in an email, but also where we're taking them on the tour. We want them to see the whole school, but if they're really focused on fine arts, we want them to meet some of those teachers. So
yeah, that's great. Let's talk about some, you know, the inquiry quality and engagement. Have you all noticed any difference in the quality or readiness of the families who inquire after interacting with Halda? You know, just as you engage with them in the admissions process, do you notice anything as they've gone through Halda and explored more about your school? Are they more knowledgeable, or any thoughts along those lines?
I would say families seem like they're more ready to commit to allocating time and energy to coming for a tour, simply because they've already answered, you know, their top 5 or 6 questions by engaging with Halda on our website. And so now they're coming and they call and they're like, hey, we'd like to tour our school. And then we kind of have some information of, okay, what did they ask? What have they been interested in? We can address some of our items, but in short, families are they're more ready to apply and tour because they've already done some background research.
And that's exactly what you want. I mean, if they're doing the work and the investigation, using a tool like Halda, they're ready to take the next step. That works beautifully in admissions. Anything you want to add to that, Stephanie?
Yeah, we've had more complete inquiries. So before we did this, we used fax. And so we just had a lot of, they would go click on the inquiry thing, little calendar thing that we had, and we just got a name, and then we didn't get anything else. And so now we're noticing as we go through, we don't have the 450 inquiries. We have closer to the 250, but we actually have all of their information. Before, we just had a lot of names with not a ton of information. So for us, it's given us the ability to follow through with a lot more information from the families, as well as our follow-up. So that's been great, which is why when Andy, when you were clicking through ours and you had to put all that information in, that's because that's what fax needed to get them into our system.
Yeah. And just by way of disclaimer, Tassel works with each of these 3 schools, and it's one thing to be able to convert more traffic coming to the website, but there's an assumption there that you're actually getting the volume of traffic that you need. So Rick and I want to be careful. We don't want to position Halda as a silver bullet. If you are not effectively getting traffic to your website through content strategies, through paid search, paid social, through AI search engine optimization processes, you will convert some percentage of the traffic already coming, but that begs the question, like, what are we doing to actually drive traffic to the site? So let me take a quick scenic detour here. Let's talk about getting traffic to the site so it can convert. Justin, I'd love to hear from you. From your perspective, and what are some strategies that you're working on that have been fruitful in driving more traffic to the site? You all have had strong organic results on your site.
Yeah, I think we put a lot into social at this point, both paid and organic, just attempting to drive traffic to site as kind of call to action, whether it be event registrations or blog related, kind of check our site to see more. We have a lot of links in our link tree on our Instagram account for that recruitment purpose, just getting people back to our website where that tool is to convert to an inquiry.
It's great. Stephanie, how about you?
Sorry, could you ask TJ? I'm still writing stuff.
Happy to.
I was listening to him.
Stephanie would like to hear what you have to say, TJ.
Yeah, go to me. So yeah, obviously, like you had mentioned, Andy is the SEO, AI SEO type of strategies to drive traffic. So when somebody Googles or searches on an AI platform, that puts your name near or at the top of the list. Niche is a pretty big element in our reach strategy, just because it's becoming the place that families go to make comparisons across schools. So we have one of their upper tier paid pieces there. And then just, like Justin had mentioned, having a good social presence, keeping your website live and active, whether it's through blogs and such, is the way that we help generate traffic.
Very good. Anything else to add, or shall we drive on?
Keep moving.
All right, very good. Karen, I wonder if you might take a moment here and just talk to us a bit about some of the reporting. Now, Halda has some analytics built in the back end. These are some Tassel reports that we format to show how it's performing as part of our process. But as we think about reporting here, just quickly touch on how we're visualizing the effectiveness of the tool.
Yeah, so we're definitely monitoring the inquiries generated on a monthly basis. And so you're, seeing that here through one of Tassel's Healthy Enrollment Dashboard reports, where we can gauge month over month. This is showing February had 15 inquiries, and there were a total of 184 inquiries. We can kind of assess the month over month progression and be tracking if there are key months based on seasonality where Halda is going to perform higher than others. And then, of course, how that relates year over year, now that we have some schools that have had it for more than a year. So that's what you're seeing in that chart there. And this dives into a little bit more of how the inquiries are responding to the key questions that we're asking. So why are you considering Christian education for your child? We're seeing the percentage of inquiries generated that are saying faith and character development. So for example, that's 41% on this particular report, and high quality education is 44%. So we know of the inquiries we've generated through Halda, these are the key factors that are motivating them to make decisions. And then this is a snapshot here of overall organic campaign results. So this takes Halda and the inquiries generated and adds it to the other organic inquiries we've generated. And again, you can see that year-over-year comparison with the dark columns compared to the lighter columns. And you can see, obviously, once we launched Halda, there was a huge lift in how many organic inquiries we could generate.
Last one. This is kind of a funky looking report, but what are we seeing here?
This is a snapshot from the Halda admin side, and there is a ton of rich data on the Halda platform itself. And this is showing that funnel analysis. So the amount of impressions that Halda has served over the certain time date range that we're filtering for, the amount of inquiries. We're always looking at that conversion rate. We see a benchmark of about a 0.5% across our clients of the impressions that are served compared to the inquiries that are generated. And then here in the bottom is actually digging in a little bit deeper into that AI form conversion analytics. So how many impressions, how many visits, how many partial inquiries, and we're able to really dive into all of that data.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. This is just a quick sampling of the data behind it so you can understand. I mean, bottom line is it generating an ROI, but there's a lot that you can learn from the traffic that's generated through Halda. Very good. Thank you.
Let's wrap it up. We've had a great conversation about Halda, but I would love to just hear your advice, for the schools that are watching and listening in. What advice do you have for them, for those that are using or considering using Halda? And maybe we'll start with you, Justin, since you were the hesitant one earlier on about diving in. What advice would you give to school leaders out there?
I would say, talking to other schools that have been through it and seen the results, I think that's something that I rely heavily on, just in considering options. There's no sense making the same mistake someone else has made. If you can learn from someone else, I think every opportunity to do so can really set you up well for success.
Yeah, that's great. TJ, you want to share any advice?
I would say if I were in somebody's shoes looking at it, I think one of the questions I may think is, well, our website isn't ready, kind of like what Stephanie was alluding to a little bit, like, our website isn't ready enough for it. I would probably say forego that line of thinking, and because what we've found, and Andy alluded to a little bit too, is that it's actually helped us catch things that we would have liked to have caught earlier, because it drew out elements of our website that needed some polishing. And yeah, I think if you wait for the perfect timing for it, you probably are going to be a little too late, frankly, to make that adoption. So I would suggest, there's no perfect setup. The beauty of AI is that it learns as it goes, and that there's pretty tight parameters around it, so you don't have to worry about it like going rogue on you and populating some very off-the-wall responses. And if you're questioning it, sure, go to one of our websites and start playing around. It'll drive our inquiry numbers, but just start playing around and see what you think, and then yeah, give it a try.
Great. What about you, Stephanie? Any advice?
Yeah, one of the things that I would encourage is definitely do it. Don't worry about the website. But one of the things that I implemented was we do weekly meetings based off of this information. So I do a weekly meeting with marketing and admissions, so that we can communicate together. So marketing can work on the things that we might be missing, and admissions can work through the process of some of the things that marketing might be seeing. So we collab on those things. And I think a weekly meeting, especially at the beginning, really helps. And then use the data. The data is phenomenal. And it can change how you're marketing. It can also change how you're talking with your families.
Yeah, that's great. I really appreciate your advice. From my perspective, I believe that this is like one of those no-brainer types of strategies that almost every school needs to be implementing, because for the investment, you see that return. And, you want to drive, when traffic gets to your website, you want to drive that opportunity to be able to generate a lead. So I really appreciate you all sharing.
It's fantastic. Very good. Panelists have been wonderful. And Karen, thank you for joining us as well. I'm going to take us out here with a quick dad joke. Let's see. There we go. So I've been trying to start a professional hide and seek league. It's slow going. Apparently good players are just hard to find. If you thought that was good, I invite you to come back on March 19. We'll have a couple more dad jokes and a conversation with Tony Fajardo if you want to stick around for that conversation. In addition to the jokes, should be a great conversation with Tony. Rick and I have known Tony for a number of years and worked with him across several schools, and just admire how he's led in those different contexts. So March 19th, 1 p.m. I encourage you, Stephanie, you talked about the importance of a weekly meeting. We talk about that in our family journey workshop and the admissions playbook workshop. Just one of many topics where we help teams sharpen their approach, sharpen their thinking. The family journey workshop, April 15 and 16, 11:30 to 4 both days. And the admissions playbook workshop, July 22 and 23, 11:30 to 4 both days. I encourage you to take advantage of the early nerd discounts for that, whether you're attending by yourself or if you bring a conference room full of nerds. And then TJ, we're looking forward to being with you and your team in November for our first ever AI Summit, continuing our Geeks on the Road series. And we'll touch on Halda again, but there's so much more we're going to be talking about in that hands-on format over that day and a half. So thank you and TFA team for opening your campus. We're going to be doing a TFA campus tour the day before, so in the afternoon of the 10th, and we'd love to see you there. So if you're intrigued by Halda, you're not using it yet, I encourage you to book a conversation with Micah Fox on the Tassel team. We've partnered with Halda, as has Rick. We have a unique approach to how we configure Halda for that pre-K to 12 market. So encourage you to set up that conversation with Micah and do your own version of show and tell with him. So with that, panelists, thank you so much. It's been great to be with you. Appreciate you sharing your experience. And Karen, thank you for joining us. And Rick, always good to be with you.
Yeah, and there will be a survey that pops up at the end of this show and tell show. Take a minute or two, complete it. Your feedback will be very important to us. But thanks for joining us on this edition of the Show and Tell Show.
And when on that survey question that says, who tells the dad jokes better, you know who to put. Thanks, everybody.